Hi there, folks. Welcome to April. Thanks to everybody who jumped in last month, everybody who's here this month to start our little Beatlemania tour for the probably next 2 or 3 months. We're probably going to be working on Beatles songs in this class in the standard track. And remember, we meet at 5 to 5:45 for the beginner intermediate, where we'll be focusing on the beginner and intermediate arrangements, and then 5:45 to 6:30 for the intermediate to advanced arrangements. And Deborah, you got access. Obviously, everything works out. Logistically, let's talk about dates a little bit. We'll be meeting for the first 3 weeks of April. April? No, sorry. We'll be meeting for the first 3 weeks of May. So today is the 30th of April. We'll meet on the 7th of May. We'll meet on the 14th, and then I am out of town on the 21st. So we'll meet for week 4 on the 28th, just so you guys know. Meet 3 weeks in a row, 1 week off, and then back for week 4 on the 28th. Yeah, does anybody have any questions regarding music? The Beatles? I'm not a Beatles expert or anything, but yeah, anybody got any questions, comments, concerns? Or just tell me how you're doing. That'd be interesting too. Fine. Silence is what I like to hear. Silence is my favorite thing in the world. Where are we going to start today, team? Oh, one more logistical thing. Yeah, I've got content up. And remember, you can always review last month's content in the last month review card. Content is up, but the videos aren't synced to SoundSlice, so expect those probably at the end of this week, kind of going into next week, the synced videos and the SoundSlice files. Okay, cool. Let's see. Do I have my camera 4 available? Camera 3 available? There. Where are we going to start today? I think we should start... Let's start with left hand? Yeah, let's start with left hand today. So give me 1 second while I pull this up. There. Okay, cool. Remember these handouts, the ones I'm going to put up on the screen here once my computer loads. The ones I'm going to put up here are available for download, and they're at the end. They're on the last page of the content module, right? So you've got the intro, you've got the SoundSlice files, you've got the class recordings, and then you've got the resources. It's in the resource tab, and it should be under the download there. Of course, whenever I need something to download, it doesn't want to. Sorry about this, team. Well, we'll start with chords. I know the chords, so let's start there. Everybody show me an A chord, 2-1-0-0. And this is actually not going to be in tune. I apologize that. I've dropped a whole step. I'm going to do a quick tuning party that probably no one is invited to because I'm going to do it quickly. There we go. And while I was doing that, this happened to come up. Okay, cool. Awesome. One thing I wanted to note was I did write the chord changes, like kind of where they are in the syllables. Now, usually when I do this on song sheets, I only do it for each section. So this is the verse. I wrote it out, but you'll notice in verse 2, I didn't do it because I want everybody to learn how to sing this for themselves, right? So you can see where the A is, the E7, the F sharp minor. All of these changes happen about where the syllables are. So you can use this first verse 1 as a reference to help you when you're starting to learn to sing and play. Make sense? I go to bridge 1, and guess what? Those are all the parts in the song. There's not really a new part. I have a verse 2, a bridge 3, and then the riff. So in all of those sections, we're really only focusing when we're singing and playing, we're only using these as our reference. Make sense? All right, cool. Let's work on some chord shapes. I'll go to the beginner handout, which these are out of order, or they're not there. Huh, that's weird. The beginner handout seems to be missing on my spreadsheet. I know it's not. Sorry about this, team. This is not how I wanted my class to start. This is not how I... Is it just because it's still downloading? Let me just look here real quick.
I was able to get the beginner handout.
Yeah, the beginner handout's there. It's more just like, is it in the right spot over here? But thank you for clarifying that you did find it. Let me just download it real quick. I'll go to this. I'll go to the page. I'll go to standard live. I'll scroll down. Resources, PDF, song sheet handouts by level. There's the beginner. Just download this. download. Now it's in my thing, and I will go save. Then I will share that download.
Well, I just want to say I'm proud of myself for a second.
Why? Tell us, please. I'm proud of you too.
I remembered what an F sharp major was without looking at the sheet.
F sharp minor. F sharp minor. That's what the M stands for. But good.
F sharp minor. My bad.
Yeah,
Whatever.
nice.
I saw something and I thought, do I know that chord? And I did.
That's really cool, actually. I love when that happens. Yeah, and remember, all of these chords, as they come to us, if we play them enough times with our left hand, then what happens is we start to get to the place where it starts to become automatic, right? And that's all we're really looking for. I'm gonna hit share. I'm gonna go to Notability. I'm gonna go to All My Life. I'm gonna hit Import. I'm gonna hit Open Note. Oh no! God damn it! Let me do that again. Here, I'm gonna hit share. I'm gonna hit Notability, and then I'm gonna go in My Life, Standard, and I'm gonna hit Import. I'm gonna hit Open Note. Okay. Hopefully that goes in there. But for now, while we're waiting for this to... Oh, no, it's already in there. Awesome. Okay, now we've got it. There is the beginner handout. All right, let's take a look at chords first. Here are our chord shapes. Let me get back to the Zoom meeting. Our first chord is an A. Now, does everybody notice how that actually has one red dot on it? A/A7, these are really just kind of versions of each other. So if you take the black dot away and you leave just the red, then you get A7, right? Oh, thank you. Original sound. Yes, I'll turn that on. All right, cool. So there's your A7, 0, 1, 1, 0. So let's just move between those two chords. Show me an A, 2, 1, 0, 0, 0. And then show me an A7, lift the middle finger. Nice. One more time, A, and then A7. Nice. Okay, E7 is our next chord. 1, 2, 0, and 2. All right, first fret on the G string, second fret on the C string, open E, and then ring finger on the second fret on the A string, right? 1, 2, 0, 2. There's our E7. Nice. You skip that open E string, and then you go to the second fret. Awesome. All right, now I'm going to actually go back to the A chord here. So there's a couple of forms of this, right? If we take our middle finger off, we get A7. And if we put our ring finger on the second fret on the E string, then we get F sharp minor. That's another chord that we have in this rotation. Yeah, so let's go ahead and go through those. Go show me A one more time. Show me A7, which means you take your middle finger away. Then show me E7, 1, 2, 0, 2. Then show me F sharp minor. Nicely done. Our next chord shape is going to be a D, and it's 2, 2, 2, and 0. And then let's go to D minor. 2, 2, 1, and 0. And our very last chord is a G shape. So does anybody have any questions regarding any of those shapes? Any of them brand new, or need me to kind of go over them? No? Feel pretty good about those shapes? Awesome. So this is what I'm going to do, is I'm going to talk about what those red dots are in a second. Let's just try whole notes moving through all of those chords for now. And remember, when you pivot between these, what our left hand's job is to try to teach itself the transformation. Basically, how does my hand move from an A chord to an E7? How does my hand move from an E7 to an F sharp minor? All of these things are going to make a lot more sense when we're starting to talk about chord progression. But that's always how you want to think about chord shapes. Is not necessarily these, like how I've drawn them here, which is these block pictures, and then you erase one picture and then put a new picture on. It's more about how the transformation works. How do our hands move through it? All right, let's try whole notes moving through this, and then we'll go to the close-up camera. 1, 2, ready. You know what? I didn't hit record on OBS. Nope, I did. Okay, good. Audio levels are good too. 1, 2, ready. Whole notes. A, 2, and ready. E7. 2, and ready. F sharp minor. Beautiful. Show me D. Show me D minor. Nice. And then show me G. Nice. And then show me A again. 2, and ready, E7, here we go. 2, and ready to the F sharp minor, and then to D, and then D minor, and then show me G. Awesome. Now, one thing I want to point out is that the red dots on the A and the A7, they actually represent two different chords. Even though they are kind of similar in form, they are two different chords. The red dots on the D chord and the D minor, these are really just, they're easier versions of the chord. So if you're struggling to get into a D chord or a D minor, you can always just press on the black dots and those red dots can be omitted. And this is kind of goes for any time you see these chord shapes. If you're struggling on these positions, these are basically substitutions. So let's look at the D substitution. 2, 2, 2, 0. If I just take my top finger away and I play 2, 2 on the inside, C and E, this is an easier version of a D chord, just because you're holding it with two different fingers. And now if I switch into my D minor, then I'm playing 0, 2, 1, 0. So again, easier versions of these chord shapes. You can always use them as substitutions. Let's try it. 2, 2, 2, 0. And if you look, if I hold my middle finger and my ring finger to hold these two chord shapes, then the switch is actually really easy. Everybody see how the difference between a D chord and a D minor is pretty easy. Okay, we're gonna go one more rotation, whole notes moving through the chords. You can use those substitutions if you want to, but if you feel comfortable with the full shape chords, they are gonna sound better and a little bit clearer. 1, 2, whole notes, here we go. A to E7, to F sharp minor, to D, and then D minor. Beautiful. And then to G. All right, I'm going to play through a little of this tune just so you guys can see the chord shapes in action. F sharp. And then here. And then D. And then D minor. And then to A. Okay, so next we'll take a look at the chord progression. Chord progression is up here at the top. We go to this and we take a look. A to E7. Now these slashes here represent divisions in measure, okay? So when I write A over E7, what I mean is the first half of the chord is A, the second half of the chord is E7. F sharp minor, second half of the chord is A7. First half is D, second half is D minor, and then A for a full measure, and then A for a full measure. Does that all make sense to everybody? Okay, cool. So those are the divisions. So remember, 2 counts for the split measures, and then we go 4 counts for the just the letter, okay? Let's try it. 1, 2, half notes. 1, 2, E7, F sharp, A7, D, D minor, and then A. 2, 3, 4, and A. 2, 3. Make sense? That's going to be our split. Let's see if we can start to get a little bit of a melody on top. 1, 2, 3. There are places I'll remember. A7. All my life. D minor. Though some have changed. Does that make sense? Everybody? Got it? 2, 3. There are and you know what? I'm actually realizing that that is a mistake. That should only be 1 there. Can I erase it? No, I can't erase it. All right, let's try one more time. 1, 2, and I'll fix this. I'll update the handout as well and get it on the website as well. 2, 3. There are places. E7. F sharp. Remember A7. All my D. Lie to D minor. High. And some have changed. 4, some forever. E7, not for F sharp minor. Better A7. Some have D, gone. D minor and A remain. Everybody got it? In terms of duration. Now, one thing that you want to pay attention to is that, you know, most of the work that we're going to be doing this week is going to be left hand, right? Left hand is going to be kind of where we're, why aren't you working? Why aren't you working? There we go. Most of the work we're going to be doing is kind of in this transition. So anytime I'm thinking about chord progression, what I'm thinking about is transformation. Like I like to think of each of these as like one step in a dance sequence and then try to connect each of these movements as smoothly and as effortlessly as possible, right? Which means that I'm trying to look for connections between one chord shape into the other. Think about what the entrance of that to that chord is, what the exit is, right? So let's go through the chord progression, just kind of thinking about our left hands now. Let's go A. Now, what I really think about when I go to an E7 is, check this out. Watch my middle finger and pointer finger. First thing they do is just switch strings. If I do that, then I'm holding 2/3 of the chord already. And all I have to do is put my ring finger down on that same fret, right? So let's try a few rotations through that. Watch here, A. Watch, my middle finger drops one string and my pointer finger rises one string. If I can do that little switch, then I'm holding 2/3 of the chord already. All I have to do is when I make that switch, I put my ring finger down 2 on the bottom string. Okay, let's try just a couple whole note transitions through that. A to E7. 1, 2, ready, switch. 2, ready, switch. A, 2, ready to E7. Nice. Last time, here we go. A, 2, and ready, switch. All right, let's look at E7 to F sharp minor. I like to just reverse the move I just did. Instead of trying to go to the F sharp minor, I go to A first. Middle finger, pointer finger, switch. Then the ring finger gets added, but now it's on the E string. Does that make sense to everybody? It's like that pivot between those two strings is really kind of the meat and potatoes of that sequence right there, is switching between them. All right, so let's try E7 to F sharp minor. 2 and ready, E7. 2 and ready, F sharp minor. Here we go. 2 and ready, E7. 1, 2, 0, 2. Nice. And then F sharp minor. 2. Last time. Here we go. E7. And then F sharp minor. Now, what I really love about F sharp minor to A7 is this. All I do is just raise these fingers, right? Keep my pointer finger where it is, raise it, and I've got my A7. Cool? So when we think about things in sequence, what happens is we can kind of visualize all of that transformation as one connected line instead of it being 4 different snapshots of pictures, right? I always use the like Etch-a-Sketch analogy, right? Like say I draw, let's say I draw a C shape, but you know how on Etch-a-Sketch you can only make like 90-degree angles or whatever? You can make diagonals too. I guess you can make 45s, but you can't make curved lines, right? So if I drew a C shape with that, and then I knew I needed to do a square, most people wouldn't shake the Etch-a-Sketch and erase the C shape, right? And then draw 4 new lines. What they would do is they'd shift over and then try to draw 1 extra line, right? And so that's what we want to think about, is not like A, erase that chord, new E7 chord. We want to think of A sort of like shape-shifting into that E7 chord. So always think about transformation when it comes to your left hand. Let's look at that 4-chord sequence, and I think that's kind of the most challenging part of the tune. 2, 3, 4, A. 2, ready, E7. 2, ready, F sharp minor, flip back into the A. Add the ring finger. Nice. And then you lift those 2 fingers to get the A7. Cool? Let's try them now in half notes like we do in the sequence. 1, 2, ready. There are play E7. F sharp minor. Remember A7. Beautiful. Let's do it one more time. 2, 3. There are places. E7. F sharp minor. Remember. Lift for the A7. Nicely done. All right. From here, let's move to the D. To the D minor. Da da da. And then to A. Remain. Cool. So that D to D minor, all I think about is see my middle and my ring finger. They shift up 1 string, and then my pointer finger moves to the E string, right? So let's try some whole notes moving between D and D minor. 2 and ready, D minor. 2 and ready to the D. 2 and ready, D minor. 2 and ready to the D. 2 and ready, D minor. Ready to the D. 2 and ready, D minor. Nicely done, team. Okay, let's see if we can add that to our sequence. A, E7, F sharp, A7, D, and D minor. And Deborah, I know it's been a while, but let's try our best not to use our eyes. We want to try to remind ourselves in the way like our ear is kind of recalling the chord that we need, and then our hands try to find that shape. Cool? And this is the thing is I'm never going to prevent anybody from not using their eyes. But remember, if you can get this into your fingers, if you can get a straighter line from memorizing the progression to your fingers being able to make those transformations, if you can make a straighter line there, it means you're going to internalize the progression a little sooner. All right, let's give it a try. 1, 2, A to E7. Here we go. A, flip the fingers. Ready, E7. Ready, F sharp minor. Back to the A plus the ring finger. A7. And remember, we've got D to D minor. 2, and ready, 2, 2, 1, 0. And then we're going to go back to A to finish. Everybody got it? Let's try it one more time. 2, 3, 4, A. Switch strings, E7, 2, and ready, F sharp, back to the A plus the ring finger. And then A7 by lifting, except the pointer finger. Then D, 2, and ready, D minor. And ready, back to A. Let's hold for 4 counts and start over. This time I'm not going to say anything. Ready? A. Nice, team. Good. And then nice. And then D. And then D minor. Especially for the people that have been working with me for like less time, I am so, I don't know, that just makes me so happy, right? It's like I didn't say a word and everybody's just kind of switching into it. And remember, that's a more important connection. Is like, can my ears, my fingers recall that sequence of chords? Or do I want to read the chord and then make my hands make a new shape and then read the next chord? You know, if we're creating more steps when we learn that way. All right, let's try it now. Half notes in the right sequence. And remember, the A gets held for 4 counts at the end. 1, 2, 3. There are plays. Switch. I remember. Nice. All my life. 4 counts. And some have changed. Some are better. Some for better. Some have D gone. And some remain. Back to the top. There are places minor, remember, A7, good, all my D, then D minor, then back to A, one more time, ever not for better, da-dun-dum, ba-da-dum, and some remain. Nicely done, team. Okay, any questions so far? Nope, feel pretty good. Remember, a lot of chord shapes, but if we think about them in a sequence, then it's like, oh, it's just one sort of routine I've got to learn, right? One routine to get me all the way through there. All right, let's look at the bridge. Oh, one thing I did want to point out is that in this picture here, remember I made this little edit there, so it's not 2 measures of A, it's 1. These repeat symbols, these little kind of sideways smiley face, no, those aren't smiley faces. Those are like angry faces or something. But here, it's like an angry face with like a double chin. That's what I like to think of. Okay, so remember, these are repeat symbols, so that means that you play through it once, bounce back to the top, and then you play through it again. Cool? And that's your verses. All right, now we get to the bridge. F sharp minor, we know how to play that chord. B minor, we don't know how to play that chord. For this beginner version and then this week, I want you to substitute B minor and this B chord with a D. Everybody got it? So for now, we're just going to use the chords that we learned. D is going to substitute this second chord, and D is going to substitute this second chord as well. Cool, so I'm going to play through the bridge. All these places, I'm going to play D here, had their moments with lovers and friends. I still can recall. Ba-dun-dee-dun-dun. D here. Ba-da-da-da. Now everybody check it out. D to D minor. My life I love them all. Cool. So most of that measure is actually, most of that progression is actually full measures, right? So these are 4 counts each as you're moving through these. And then when you get to this third one in the second set, it's going to be that half measure. Cool. Let's give it a try. 1, 2, whole notes. Here we go. All these places. To D had their moments. G with lovers and friends. A, I still can recall. F sharp. Ba-dum, ba-da-da-da-da. To D. Ba-da-da-da. Now we go D, D minor. In my life, I love them all. Boom, bing, bam, ba, da, bum. Make sense? Yes? Cool. Let's try a verse going into a bridge, and then we'll call it. Do your best, team. I am going to go to the first one so you can read whatever chord's next, but do your best. Remember, we're trying to memorize the sequence as a routine, so do your best to see if you can, your hands can recall it. 1, 2, ready. There are places I'll remember. All my D, La to D minor. Though some have changed, some forever, not for better. Nice. Some have gone, and some remain. All these places have their moments. Nice. With lovers and friends, I still can recall. Some are dead and some are living. Nice. Here we go. In my life, I've loved them all. Nicely done, team. All right, with the right hand, this is what we're going to do. 1, 2, and 3, 4, and down, down, up, down, down, up. 1, 2, and 3, 4, and down, down, up, down. So it's long, short, short, long, short, short, long, right? Short, short, long. Nice. Good. Beautiful. Hey, Monique, see if you can get just a little up and down motion with your arm. See how you're kind of, your wrist is really the only thing that's moving in your strum. Watch my hand. See that little kind of like, yeah, a little bit of a bob, kind of turning at the elbow. I almost think of it as like a piston moving up and down, right? It's lifting your hand above and below the strings, and then your wrist is where you get a little bit more of that snap. See,
I think
got this
I'm
motion.
using it to hold it.
Yeah, no, totally. This is the thing I would say is that yes, you're using it to hold, which means that you're kind of lifting the instrument probably a little above. See if there's a way you can actually get it to rest onto your hip, right on the hip. That way you don't have to hold it against you. You know what I mean? All of that right hand can do. And this is the thing too, is my right hand kind of holds, but you can see I've got a strap here. That's helpful as well. But I think you can still get a little bit of that grip, but just shift the hand a little more forward. See how right now you're kind of, shift the hand, like the arm a little bit more forward. That way the bicep is kind of against the back of the bout. Yeah, there you go. And then you're strumming like pretty much just a little bit in front of where the neck meets the body. Yeah, that looks good. Yeah, just a little up and down motion. Nice. 1, 2, and 3, 4, and down, down, up, down. Okay, now this is the full rotation of our rhythmic pattern. 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1. Okay, so I'm gonna put this up on a little visual here. Yeah, beginner handout. Okay, here is our rhythm. We're playing 1, 2, and 3, 4, and here is my split measures, which means that I'm going to be playing my first chord here, my second chord here. Does that make sense? That's my split measures. And then when I'm playing a full chord, I'm going to take it all the way through the rhythm. Everybody got it? Let's give it a try, nice and slow. Let's try just moving between A and E7. Everybody remember that chord change? We flip the fingers, add our ring finger. Okay, let's just try the split measure. 1, 2, and switch. Back to A. Then E7. Nice. All right, now let's go one full measure of A after. Here we go. One full measure. 1, 2, and 3, 4 and split. A to E7. Nice. And then full measure. 1, 2, and 3, 4, and split. A to E7. Nice. And then back to A. All right, let's remind ourselves of the chord progression. Remember, team, it's A to E7 to F sharp minor to A7 to D to D minor, and then full measure on A. Everybody got it? Cool? And I'm not that mean. I'm actually going to put the progression up here. Oh, it's not written down. Scroll back to the top. All right, cool. Let's give it a try. 1, 2, ready? Here we go. A, E7, F sharp, then to A, then to D, then to D minor, then full measure on A. Beautiful. We repeat. A, E7, F sharp, then A7, then to D, then D minor, then to A. Beautiful. Let's try without looking. Here we go. Nicely done, team. Nice. Oh, there are places I remember all my life. Well, some have changed. Let's go again. Some for better, some for better. D ba dun dun ba da da to A dun dun dun. Let's try a round of the chorus. Da da dun dun da da dun 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 dun. With people dun dun. Then a recall. Ba dum ba dum ba dum ba dum ba dum ba dum. In my life, I love them all. And let's finish here on A. So remember, team, the repeat is only in the verse, right? You notice here that this is not a repeat. You actually just play this straight through. F sharp to D to G to A, straight into F sharp to D to D to D minor, then A. Make sense? Let's try that bridge progression one more time. 1, 2, 3. Bum bum be dun 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 dun. Bum bum dun dun dun. Bum 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 bum. Da. Second part. Ba dum ba dum ba dum ba dum dee. In my split the measure, I love them all. Let's try it one more time. Ba dun 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 dun. A. Bum ba dum bum bum. Second part. Ba dum ba dun 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 dun. Here's where we split the measure. D to D minor. Nice. I love them all. And let's finish here on 1. Nicely done, team. Let's take a breather, shall we? I don't want to sit here by myself, though. Let's talk. Who's got questions? Who's got things? Who's got stuff?
Well, John, I really appreciate you getting on my case about not reading the music, because it feels so much better. I mean, that's why I'm here back with your basics, right? Because I got to get this. It's just holding me back so much. So
Yeah.
Thank you.
Totally. Think about some song that you can do from memory. Just think about the
Yeah.
way it feels when you play it. That's how you
Right.
should be thinking about every tune, right? Anytime we use visual reference, it's not that it's a bad thing. And honestly, it's a very powerful learning tool. oftentimes what we can do is we can really accelerate our learning. We can present so much more information because we have this visual sort of cue that we can cue off of. But the problem is that most people, what they'll do is they'll sort of like ingrain that visual reference into how they reproduce the music. And it's like, no, that's not actually what we're trying to do. What we're trying to do is play. We're trying to hear what we're doing, and we're trying to feel what we're doing. And when we think about those two senses, if we start to throw the visual element into it, it's really just a distraction. Like I was saying before, you're creating steps, you're creating a longer progression, or like more things that your brain has to go through in order to reproduce that music. So yeah, even a progression like this that has 5 chords in it and a really quick sequence of like half notes where you're switching between a lot of chords, even this, anybody that's just starting out on ukulele, if they focus and they listen and they feel, they can memorize it, right? And remember, that's always your job. Week 1, memorize the chord progressions and the rhythms that we're working on, right? Always know those 2 things, and that usually means that you know 95% of this tune, right? If you omit those little riffs that we're going to learn, we know most of the song already. So that's your job week 1. Make sure you got it locked in. That right hand feels good, feels natural to move through the chords. You know how it feels when you split the measure in half versus playing a whole measure of the rhythm with a chord, right? So the only difference that we're going to do is that when we go to the bridge, the very first measure, when we hit F sharp minor, we're going to play a whole note. Does everybody understand that? When we go, there are da-da-da, and then we're back into the rhythm on the second measure. Cool? So if we take a look at this bridge progression, F sharp minor here will be a whole note. F sharp minor here will be a whole note as well. I don't know if that's true. Hold on a second. How did I write this? Give me 1 second. Here, I'm going to go sound slice. I'm going to pull up the arrangement real quick. Oh, you know what I can do? I can look at it here. Sound slice, beginner, bridge. Did I do it? Yeah, I did it in both. Okay, cool. So pretty much every time you hit the F sharp minor in the bridge, you're going to hold a whole note, and then you're going to come back into the rhythm on the next chord, which in the beginner version is always a D chord. Does that make sense to everybody? All right, cool. I'm going to try this. I'll play through the first part. I'll play through the bridge. Dun, dun, dun. I love them all. Let's get F sharp minor, whole note. Places rhythm again on D. With people and friends, I still can recall. Whole note, F sharp minor. Ba-dum, be-dum, ba-dum. To D, ba-dum. In D, then D minor, then A. Let's try that again. F sharp minor, whole note. Ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum. To D, ba-da-da-da. And you just come back into the rhythm. With people, dun dun, I still can't recall. Ba-dum, 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 ba-dum. Back to the rhythm. Ba-dum. In my D minor high life, I love them all. Let's try to do it without the visual reference. Ba-dum, be-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum, da-da-dum. Beautiful. Bum, ba-da-dum-dum. I still can't recall. F sharp minor, da da da, then to D, E, 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 D to D minor, in my life. Back to A. I love them all. Bridge one more time. Ba da, whole note. Bum, be dum, ba to D. Ba da 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 da. G. Bum, ba da dun dun. Then to A. Bum, ba dun dun dun. F sharp minor, whole note, and then we go to the second chord, and then we do our transfer. My life, I love them all. Last time, I'm not going to say anything. Can we remember what our second chord is? Nice. And then, beautiful team. And then, nice. Second rotation. Second chord is the same. Nice. And then guess what? We're going to split the measure. Yeah. And love them all. And let's finish on one. Yeah, team, that's it. All right, next week we are going to go over our riff section. If you are sticking around for the intermediate advanced class, that's happening in 1 minute. That's when it's going to happen. Thanks so much for dropping by. And remember our schedule. We're meeting for the next 3 weeks consecutively, 1 week off, and then we'll meet again for week 4. Remember, team, our number one job. I shouldn't say number one. Number one is listening to this song, okay? Don't think just because you know it in your head. The cool part about it is I'm really pushing myself to learn things in original keys so we can have as much audio reference as we can, right? And so always try and think about that song being in the background is actually you learning it too, right? You can kind of absorb things like a sponge. You can feel those transitions and those changes. You can hear that F sharp minor chord. You can almost visualize your hands on the fretboard as you're listening to the tune. So first job, listen to the song. Let's get it in our heads. We're going to be working on it all month. And then second job, chord progression, rhythm, those right hand and left hand things need to be locked in and in muscle memory. Any questions before we get out of here, team?
So, John, thank you. This is such a great class.
Thank you.
But so for the next class, do I sign out and then sign back in?
Yeah, it's a different link. It's just right below. It's wherever you found this link. It's like right below on the next button. Okay.
Great. Thank you.
It was nice to see you all. Have a great week, and we'll
Bye.
talk to you later.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.